Welcome to part 2 of a big chat all about foundation. If you missed the first part of this video, have a look at the caption and you can go back there, and otherwise let's continue. So just to recap, we touched on how to prep your skin for a really lasting foundation, whether you need a primer or not, some tips when applying your foundation, which kind of application tool will be right for you, whether it's your hands, brush, sponge. And something I wanted to touch on as well is that there is absolutely no right or wrong. If you're happy with how your makeup is turning out, that is the main thing. The next thing I just wanted to mention is foundation for mature skin. I'm really conscious in my videos, and I always think I'm just going to actually have this chat with you so you can see where I'm coming from. I can see where you're coming from. I get a lot of requests for, could you please do a video for mature skin and things like that. So just to give you a bit of background on me, I've been a makeup artist for over 10 years, whether that is in store, in a salon, on photo shoots, fashion week. I've done so many different people's makeups. So I promise you, I've got so much that I love kind of passing on and sharing. But when it comes to mature skin, like, I hate the thought that if you saw a video that said this is for mature skin, that it would somehow insinuate that the other videos aren't for you if you've got mature skin, because I want you to be able to enjoy everything on the page. And that's why I shy away from it. And another thing is, sometimes this has happened to me so many times, someone will ask, it's always with hooded eyes. Someone will say, please, can you do a video for hooded eyes? I'll make this video that says, just to be clear, I'm responding to a question about hooded eyes, and people will be horrible. You haven't got hooded eyes. Why are you chiming in? It's happened with several topics. So sometimes I'm just like, I actually can't listen to the nonsense of someone biting my head off just because I'm just trying to make a video. Do you know what I mean? So I am going to touch on mature skin now, but I want to be really, really clear. I don't want you to feel, if you think you have mature skin, that you can't use and enjoy every single video on this page. I think there are so many rules that for some reason we all took in. Maybe it was old magazines or something, I don't know. But there's a lot of myth bunking that I try and do, and you can wear whatever you feel comfortable in. Now, all of that said, there are things that you can do to reduce your foundation from gathering in fine lines. And I think that that is something that affects everyone, especially if you've got, you know, a very naturally expressive face like me. If you want to kind of reduce any gathering product, I would encourage you to find formulas that are really pigmented and dense. So for example, where's it gone? I moved it because I kept throwing it around. That Face Atelier foundation is a great example of something really pigmented. You only need a tiny bit. And so because you've only got a tiny bit on, it's less likely to gather in the lines. I would also say, depending on what kind of finish that you like, a little touch of powder, not loads, but just enough to set your makeup, can make a huge difference to how long it stays where you've put it, rather than running everywhere else. And another thing I would say is that you might prefer to just use a really soft base all over, something like a tinted moisturiser, a BB cream, a CC cream. And then if you need extra coverage in certain areas, maybe it's a bit of pigmentation or redness or something like that, you can just press a little bit of concealer wherever you might need the further coverage, but ultimately you're nice and fresh everywhere else. And I also wanted to mention, speaking of BB creams and CC creams, Alison, you asked me, you said, I never get the right shade, even with the virtual matchups, and what would I recommend for shade matching? So first and foremost, as someone that used to work on a beauty floor and loved it, go to your nearest counter if you can as your first priority. It's always great to try things on, see them in the flesh. In particular, and I say this to you taking full responsibility that I'm one of the people, when you've got people making videos all the time, constantly coming up on Instagram, TikTok, like, hello, I never stop talking, do I? But you can see something and think, that looks wicked, I want that. But actually, if that's not appropriate for your skin type, if it's not, you know, matching what you need for your everyday base, if it's not available near you, it might not be the right thing for you. So going into store and having a chat with someone, you might find something that's far more suited to you. It's also great to try things on, see how they last through the day, check the colour match in the flesh. The best place to check your colour match is always in natural light if you can. That said, absolutely utilise these virtual consultations if you can't get into store. So many brands offer them. It's absolutely brilliant. Like the It Cosmetics one, for example, you click and say book a consultation. It's literally like a FaceTime. You are sat chatting with someone like this that can explain. You might say to them, can you help me? I wear like a MAC NC20. And they'll be like, okay, in that case, I think you're a light medium. Really, really good. Another thing I would say, if you're just not getting the shade match, if it's just driving you mad, I would reduce the level of coverage that you're going for. Go for something like a BB cream, a CC cream, a tinted moisturiser. That way it's a bit sheerer and you're far more likely to be able to kind of get near your perfect shade and get away with it. CC creams and BB creams in particular are not designed to be a completely perfect skin match because they're designed to kind of even out the complexion. And so they're a lot more forgiving if they're not 100% your perfect shade. Another thing, I'm going to do a separate video on this because I feel like I've got so much to say, in particular because I've got the prominent areas of redness. But for some people, your whole face might not be the same colour. It's really quite common. Like in warmer skin tones, for example, you often find that the outer parts of the face are warmer than the inner skin. Let's say with me, with the redness, I've got really quite fair skin with these very prominent areas of red. So as well, like if someone has been in the sun a lot, then you often find that maybe along the chest could be a bit pinker or warmer, and then the rest of the face is significantly lighter. So if that's you, if you've got a few different shades going on, again, I would stick to the colour correctors or the tinted moisturisers. And then, like we mentioned earlier on, as a suggestion for mature skin, just press a little bit of concealer into the areas that need fuller coverage, but keep everything else nice and sheer. So just to recap, if you missed the first video, I explained that if you're watching this and you've never quite found your perfect foundation, I want to invite you to leave me a comment. Tell me about yourself. How much time do you have to get ready? Is your skin dry, oily, combination? How much coverage do you want? Do you want a full coverage that's going to suit oily skin? Do you want fresh and glowy that's going to suit dry skin? Tell me what you're looking for and I'm really happy to make a suggestion for you. I don't read my DMs, but I read all of the comments. So if I can ever give you a recommendation for anything, please feel free to write it in the comments. I thought I would show you a few. I've just brought in a handful that I think are good reference points and good places to start. But there are so many great brands. This is just a handful that I had next door that I've been kind of wearing a lot myself recently that I thought would be worth mentioning. And also shameless plug coming up here, but I did want to show you this because it's quite nice. So the day of me filming this, it's Sunday, and lovely Tara from Fabulous magazine put together this feature. It's called the Beauty Experts Ride or Die products. So obviously we know what went in there for me. Actually, there was a little curveball. So I've put my CC cream in. There's Tara, by the way, absolute babe. I've put the CC cream in and also the K18 hair mask, which I've done in a previous hair video. Honestly, we'll talk about that separately. Fantastic. My favourite, everyday base, love it, would recommend it to anyone, is the It Cosmetics CC cream. What I love is that it's a really full coverage if you want it to be, but it looks and feels hydrating, comfortable. You don't feel like you've got loads on. As an alternative, if you wanted something great that was really full coverage from the high street, the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear comes in a liquid or a powder. Very, very full coverage, very reliable. It's more of a matte finish, but you're not going to be worrying about anything showing through. If you want like juicy radiance, full coverage, similar to the CC cream, more affordable end of the price, The Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation is brilliant. This is very hydrating and very, I don't want to say glowy because it's not shimmery, but it's very dewy. So if you're oily, I'm not sure this will be for you. You'll be more of a fresh wear girl, but that's a brilliant high street one that I really, really rate. Studio Fix from MAC, which by the way comes in 67 shades. This is an icon for a reason, and I would say it's a very customizable foundation. So when you've got your bottle like this, you can make it completely velvety with the right primer. You can really make it luminous by mixing in something like a bit of strobe cream or your illuminator. Another thing I would tell you, if you're struggling to get a shade match, I'm just keeping an eye on the time, it's really good to know your shade in MAC, because loads of makeup artists, MAC is like a universal language among makeup artists. And if you say to someone, I'm an NC42, what would be my closest match? That's just a language that so many people understand. So even if you never get the foundation, find out your shade, and you can use tools like Foundation online that will help you to find the perfect match. If you're going for more of a tinted moisturiser, that kind of thing, you want to be going for Laura Mercier or NARS. I worked with Laura Mercier on this base a few months ago. It's really beautiful, lovely one for anybody, but in particular, I think if you're worried about things sitting in fine lines and maybe you've got slightly more, as you might describe it, mature skin, the Tinted Moisturiser Light Revealer has a bit of extra glow. The original Tinted Moisturiser and the oil-free Tinted Moisturiser are also brilliant. I'm going to leave, oh sorry, there's one more that I really do love. If you find that you want something long wearing that you can put on and forget about it, so you've kind of got all the benefits of a matte full coverage, but you don't want it to look completely flat, you want to go for your Even Better from Clinique. This has kind of like an eggshell finish, and you can put it on and forget about it. In particular, if you've got oily or combination skin, I would really recommend that one. I think that is all of our questions, and it's another 15 minutes, literally waffled on for half an hour. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that was helpful. If you've got any more questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll be back with some more videos really soon. Take care, and I'll chat to you soon.